It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and welcome into season 2, episode 49 of Banging on the Drum. I am your host, P Dog, joined alongside my co host, M Dog. And M Dog, how are you doing today?
Oh, doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, episode 49, we got to be season 1 was 45 episodes. So we are creeping up on 100. So pretty impressed with that progress at this
That puts
point.
us at
Haven't,
94.
haven't missed a week. Yep, good math. Good math right off the bat from our math genius. But 6 more episodes, we're going to have the number 100.
Yeah, are we doing anything special for that? I mean, where would that put us? That would put us like right around like June 1st, too.
Hmm. Yeah,
Maybe
well,
a
we'll
week.
see. We'll see where it goes because I got some decent sized things coming up in the near future where I'm going to be the prima donna of the show. So we'll probably be recording on an odd schedule. Like we've been pretty consistent on Thursday recently, but let's get into it. That's not here nor there. Let's start with overs and unders. And what do you got? You kick it off.
So I worked the weekend, which I kind of mentioned on the last episode, which was not my under going into the weekend, but it's always shittier to work a weekend, right? Then I have one day off, like just puts everything kind of behind the eight ball, like at home, at work, everything, because I skip a day of work and then I'm trying to like catch up through the whole week. So I had to work Saturday. Saturdays aren't that bad. Like this Saturday, we did a bowling tournament, so I just scored bowling all day. I sat in a chair and just wrote down bowling scores. So
You went to a bowling alley though?
no, we run plastic pins and rubber balls right in the gym,
Oh boy,
like we're fourth
that's
graders, right? Like it just is what it is. It'd be nice if we just had like, even if I had two lanes or one lane, I could run like a bowling tournament really easy during the day, especially if it resets itself. The longest part is people having to reset all the pins.
Yeah,
Kind
if
of
you ever
stupid.
seen that mini bowling, there's like an appeal to it. It blew up for a little while, like where I would say it was like more of the hipster scene, where like they had people in these mini bowling alleys like resetting the pins, but they would do it like kind of like cool, and they would like spin the pins and like set them up and
Yeah.
like be all fancy about it. But
No,
you teach
I don't
that.
know if I've even seen like videos or anything of that, but that's what we ran. It's pretty easy day except for the guys complaining because the ball was too light or like it's been the same for 20 years. You've been there 20 years. Like quit bitching about it. Like this is just the way it goes. It's the way it's always been. Like I don't know why you're like talking to me about how it needs to change, but it doesn't matter. And then I picked up a like a bingo shift. So I had to call bingo. My job sounds so hard, right? I watched some guys bowl and then I played some bingo. Um, so I picked up a shift to do bingo, and so I had to work until 7 because they run it from 6 to 7 every night. And so it's a 10-hour day, which like it's nice to be able to get like some hours off on Friday. But like I left, my kids left for school at like 7:30, so I left for work like 15 minutes later, and then when I got home, they were like ready for bed, like they were laying down to go to bed at 7:35, 7:40. And so like I just didn't see the boys at all. My daughter was up, she was reading for a while, but just like kind of a shitty day. It's a good reminder on why I like went back to school, got the job that I have now. Make sure I do day shifts. And then so really my over for the week is that this Friday I only have to work like 3.5 hours or 4 hours or something. So
And
it's
then
gonna
you
be a
get to
nice.
spend the rest of the time with the kids. Look, you
No, the
make it.
kids are fucking at school, so it doesn't matter. Like and
Uh,
getting off early on Friday. I mean, there's gonna be one home, and we'll probably do something, but got to
take,
take
take
some.
take them out of school for the day to bring them to a Brewer game. Then they'll always love the Brewers
Ooh,
forever.
Yeah, except for they got to drive 3.5 hours to get to the Brewers, and they'll probably be like pissed about that. Like 6 hours in the car on a day to watch a 2-hour ball game now. But I got to take some TVs over to get them recycled for like a spring recycling day, and got some errands I got to run tomorrow. But get groceries.
Sounds like a fun
How,
Friday coming up.
oh yeah, how'd your week go?
It was good. It was a good week. Pretty uneventful. Yeah, work theme wise, like finals are coming up, so it always gets like stressful for a minute, but I didn't have it there. So I'll start with my under here. So completely whiffed my youngest nephew's birthday. Didn't call, didn't do anything. And then my dad's birthday is 4 days after his. And that date always sticks out in my head. Like, so when I see like 4/18, I'm like, oh shit, it's my dad's birthday. Like, if I have to like write it on anything. But then immediately when I did that, I was like, what is Lennon's birthday? I was like, I'm pretty sure it's like right. I thought it was 2 days before my dad's birthday, but it's actually 4 days. So I missed it by a long shot. But he just turned 3, so I don't think he's too pissed at me. I talked to him on the phone today. Seemed pretty content. Didn't seem too mad at me quite yet.
Yeah, maybe when he's 6, he'd be pissed. Um, yeah, that's a tough one. That's like a something that'll make you feel in the dumps. So does your wife not like remind you of this stuff, or is it too early in the relationship maybe for
Yes,
her to be kind of tuned in?
she's usually pretty locked in. Last year we had like a family calendar go around where
Oh
like
yeah,
there was like pictures on it every month, and then like on specific dates it had like whose birthday it was, and we didn't do it again. So we need to get back to that practice, like
you
where
want to
we're
if you want to give like a good like Christmas gift that would probably be relatively cheap, you could do that.
and that's
But
what my sister did last year. She crushed it. So I was like, okay,
yeah, my aunt
that's
does one of those for us every year. It's pretty nice.
yeah, it's a good plan. Like you don't forget birthdays. If you do forget them, you don't forget them by 4 days at the very least. And yeah, I mean, like I just couldn't believe how hard I whiffed on it. I guess like I don't go on Facebook quite enough because like when I did log back into Facebook, I can't remember exactly if it was just because I remembered it was my dad's birthday, or if that same day I went on Facebook and then I was like, oh shit, someone said happy birthday to Lennon. I was like, when's that? So it was like a 2 track thing where I was like, oh shit, I really did miss that by a long shot. But whatever, like I said, he wasn't too pissed about it, and life goes on. I'll get his 4th and 5th and 6th birthday, and make up
Yeah,
for it
just so
when
as
I'm
long
back.
as you're giving it like there to give him his beer on his 15th birthday, that's the important one.
Yeah, yeah. Will do. Maybe I'll give it to him a year early. So I'll give it to him on his 14th birthday
There you go.
because I missed this one. But yeah, then other than that, I went to a tailgate for the Florida State spring game. And that was super fun. It made me remember how much I missed tailgating. And we had a decent crew for it, but it did end up just being like a hodgepodge of like random people. Cause a guy from my math class last semester is another like older guy going back to school like me. Um, we've hung out a couple times, like hit golf balls, but I don't know him super well. But I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good time. And then we brought a friend. He had another friend, and then we just ended up meeting like just a bunch of people that were at the tailgate. I think I ended up hanging out with an 8-year-old for the majority of it. There was this like 8-year-old who just like followed me everywhere. Like I don't know what I did. I enjoyed his company, so like wasn't like annoying me. And I think that was the thing. Like he was in a family of like 6 kids,
Oh,
so
geez. Yeah, that's a lot.
it and not all 6 of them were there. So I think 4 of the 6 kids. It was either 3 or 4 of the 6 kids were there. So like he was like this old dude that like I don't know, like I paid attention when he talked, like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, and
Yeah,
then
everybody else in his life is just like, whatever, dude, shut up. Like, no one wants to hear you.
yeah,
But Pat
like
said, "You're cool, man," and then that's
yeah,
it.
yeah. So it was fun. That was a good time. Um, but yeah, and then I impressed myself as well because I did end up drinking a fair amount there. Nothing like crazy. It wasn't like throwing it back to like my 20s. But then everybody was like, "Oh, let's go to this." So half the people went into the game, and then half the people were going to do other stuff. And they were like, "Let's go to this brewery on the outskirts of town." And we had to take care of the dogs first, and I took the dogs on a walk, and I was like, yeah, that's it. Like I'm tapping out. Like it would have been a fight for me to get to that brewery. I mean, like I had a safe ride and everything. Like it wasn't like logistically impossible, but like I was just gonna
You
have to
ready for
ride.
a nap?
Yeah, it was. I was gonna have to dig deep to get ready to go out and drink more. So can't. Did I just order a pizza? I can't even remember what I. Oh no, my wife. My wife ended up going. She was a trooper. I don't think she drank as much as me there, but she ended up bringing home Wendy's at the end of the night. So it ended up being all good. So yeah, it was a good time. Need to tailgate more often.
Yeah, we used to have a good time like attempting to tailgate, right?
Yeah, I love that when we would put games on the outside of your house. Is
Yeah,
that
like
what you're talking about?
yeah. I mean, or even when we would just do like, you remember when we were doing like pizza and baseball,
Oh
Sunday
yeah,
night pizza and baseball? We're like every Sunday night we were just, I don't know, it was weird.
I
But
was drinking old Milwaukee. You're throwing it back to it. I'm kind of jealous. Does that shit give you heartburn? Gave me heartburn.
so I've been getting heartburn real bad because I eat too much. Like it wouldn't matter what I drink, right? Like anything I like eat right now because my stomach just is not processing food fast enough. So it's
Man,
not good.
I
I should just not eat as much.
I love the idea of being like an old Milwaukee drinker, but that shit, like I remember, like legitimately, I don't know if I thought I was having a heart attack, but I felt like I was shitting my heart out through my veins, like while I was sleeping on your couch one night after I guess we were eating Pizza Hut too, so like that
Pizza
doesn't
Hut or fucking what's the other one we ate a lot? The local place. It's in the house.
Angelini's maybe.
No, it's in the house. Slice of
Oh
no slice
yeah,
of.
slice of Chicago.
Is that right?
Yeah, slice of Chicago.
Okay. It
Simple
doesn't
as
feel like
that.
that's right.
I remember
Slice of
one time
Sparta.
we were driving into town and they have a big so when you come off the interstate, like when you're coming from La Crosse, I don't know, this is pretty
Yeah,
regional. So
it's like in the trailer park there, right?
yeah, that big sign. And the person, oops, sorry about that. The person we were riding with in the car had never been to Sparta before. And we pulled into Sparta and they see this trailer park, and then there's a sign that says Slice in Chicago above it. And they're like, they call this trailer park Slice in Chicago. Oh man, that made me laugh for way too long because it was like such a genuine like,
Yeah, that's a good call. Like that's kind
like
of funny.
that's pretty fucked up. Like I don't know. It amused me at the very least. But you ready to roll into this show?
Yeah, let's get into that basketball stuff over the weekend, and then
All right. So barking about the Bucks, the playoffs have started, and the Bucks are 1-1 with the Heat in the first round. So we'll start this with game one. Holy cow, I'm getting all kinds of ads popping up. But first game, Giannis goes down with what would
back
you say?
injury.
Yeah, I mean he landed on his tailbone. super hard. I want to say it was like 10 minutes into the game. Maybe I'm crazy. It was
Well,
pretty early into the
it was
game.
pretty
No, even
early.
even
I
before
lost
that.
I lost the ability to watch like probably 3-4 minutes in, right? So I share my YouTube TV, and then it was gone on me pretty quickly because all my in-laws were watching, probably like Miss America pageants or something.
Yeah, no, we have that issue where I have to like start texting some of my family because my household's the YouTube account holder,
Yep.
but like my whole family has it. So when there's like a Packers playoff game, that's when it tends to get tapped out. And I have to just like text my mom that's halfway watching it by herself to stop watching it. I gotta figure out how to fix these ad things. I'm
Yeah.
sorry about this, guys.
No, and like, does your mom get like mad about you asking
No,
to
not
shut
at
it
all.
off?
Like
Okay.
she just watches it more for like a social event to like be in the loop. And like as much as like my dad and I watched football growing up in the house, I still don't think my mom fully understands the game of like she just never cared to like
Yeah,
get it. Like she's cool. Like if you're having a football party, like she'll
she'll be there.
chill, yeah, she'll
She'll
chill with
join.
you and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
And doesn't really just doesn't really care to know the game. But anyways, back to the Bucks game. So Giannis goes down, just drills the floor. I was watching it back again today, and that thump was just so damn loud. And then after Giannis goes down, like the air just comes out of the building. While I was watching that game, I don't know if I've ever seen announcers just rag on a crowd as hard as these announcers were ragging on Milwaukee uh for this game.
Well,
But
because I do feel like that's the thing you do need though, is you need your crowd probably to step up in that moment instead of kind of deflate in that moment.
yeah, but I was saying like I kind of got where they were coming from is because when you have Giannis go down in that situation and he comes back into the game, so you're kind of like, okay, maybe it's not that bad. But then sure enough, he leaves the game. And then when he was walking into the locker room, like it was a pretty like scary looking like did he because I don't know, like the way he went down, I was thinking like, yeah, he could have definitely like chipped something or did
Yep.
something where he's just never going to be right for the rest of this playoff run. So I think if you're in the crowd and like that's going through your head and you didn't drink enough to just be like, okay, let's get past that and get going. It just is hard to get going. And then I also think on top of it, like the players are feeling the same way. It's like they're like,
Yeah.
damn, that's our brother. Like this is shitty. And you're right. You could go two ways in that situation. Is like, hey, let's win this one for Giannis. Let's sweep these bitches and get him the full amount of rest. Like
Yeah.
where he knows we don't need him anytime soon. Like, just kind of give him the oh, take your time, like we got this covered type treatment.
And so like there's a big piece of it that the game plan was focused around Giannis too, right?
Yeah,
That
you're
like
100% right with that.
we're not gonna funnel the ball into Brook. We're gonna funnel it into Giannis. And when he leaves the game, adjusting that game plan mid game is probably relatively challenging.
Yeah.
Where it
And
didn't look that way in game two. Looked like they had planned on what they were going to do and executed it very well.
yeah. And we will get to that, but I think also you'd be wrong if you didn't kind of give the Heat their flowers in that game because they absolutely went off in that game. So as a team, they shot 60% from three, 59.5% from the floor. So basically 60% of anything they were putting up was going in the hoop. Jimmy
Yep.
Butler scores 35 points, has 11 assists, just goes off. Bam Adebayo was crushing it, scores 22 points in that game. And he was kind of winning the battle down low in that one. And then Kevin Love was just like resurrected from the dead. I honestly don't think I knew he was on the Heat. I mean,
For
maybe
sure did not know that.
okay. So maybe I did actually, no, I definitely did. Cause I remember, I swear every time my wife tunes into a Bucks game that they're playing the Heat. And I remember asking her if she thought he was a good looking dude. Cause I think he's kind of a good looking dude. And then just remember him coming out of UCLA. Like he just reminded me of Bobby from King of the Hill. And I'm like I was like, man, he has came a long way from that. But then we went back and looked at him at UCLA, and I was like, okay, I had some like weird construction of how he looked. Like he was like in my mind, he was just some like chubby dude that was good at basketball, but he was bigger and like a little bit flabbier at UCLA, but he wasn't like I can't think of a good example.
He wasn't
like
round. He just was thick,
yeah,
right.
but
Well, and he's like 7 foot. He's like 6'11" or something like that.
but yeah, so he had a hell of a game, but it was just one of those, I would call it like a classic like frustration games, a situation I find the Badgers putting me in a lot of the times, because the Bucks did fight back. Like it wasn't a complete blowout afterwards.
Right. They got back to within like 8 late in that game.
Yeah, because they end up losing the game 130 to 117. I don't know if I said that yet. But it was definitely like you're like, oh shit, maybe we're about to start get rolling. And then just somebody else would hit a big shot. Butler would drive, hit one. The hero hit,
Broke his hand.
yeah, that happened too. So
and then Reggie Miller said that Hero is more important to the Heat than Giannis is to the Bucks, which I thought was pretty odd. But
yeah, it is interesting. Like if you actually take that into consideration, because it could actually be a true statement, but
it could be. But so if you're taking the leading scorer off of a team and expecting them to win, right? Like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And I honestly thought the Bucks record was a little bit better without Giannis. I want to say the graphic last night was saying they're 11-8 without him, which isn't very good. I don't think.
They had
as good as this
a
team
losing
is.
streak of like 5 or 6 games there in the middle of the season, though, when he was.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. But yeah, anytime in game one where it looked like the Bucks were gonna come back and make it a game, just another guy stepped up and hit a three. The Heat weren't missing that much, played damn near a perfect game, which leaving that game kind of actually gave me a little bit more hope, because I was like, there's no way that they're going to continue this, because I can't remember if the broadcast was saying it, but they're like the 27th overall shooting team in the league, and like, and they just shot the shit out of the ball and won that one. But they need to do that 4 times to beat the Bucks. So
yeah, I was actually talking with a guy at work, and I just said, like, the only way the Heat win this series is if they get red hot shooting the ball, and the Bucks get like dog shit shooting the ball. Like both things have to happen for them to win games, and then that has to happen 4 out of 7 games, like, which would be pretty strange.
Which truly did happen in game one. So
yeah.
Yep. Like I said, the Heat shot 60% from 3. The Bucks shot 24.4% from 3, which you don't see the Bucks do that very often.
No.
And I don't think you're going to see it again. But if we roll into game 2, you made a very good point, is obviously they knew that they were going without Giannis in this game, and the game plan did look very different. And the ball movement in this game was just some of the best ball movement I've seen out of a Bucks team ever. And I've been saying this throughout the whole season. Once we locked into the Bucks, is sometimes they just even almost look like globetrottery, like the way that they can whip the ball around and like just find that extra pass that makes someone open. But they came out of the game or out of the gate in this game with just so much energy. And I think that switch did get flipped. The stadium was rocking in game two. I don't remember the announcers referencing it too much in this game, but I did. Our Bucks correspondent, K9 Kyle, was at the game. We should have probably brought him on today, but it was loud in there, lots of energy. I think if people that weren't at game one were at game two, they heard the announcers just shitting on Milwaukee the whole time. And they were like, you think it's quiet in here? Like, we are just going to absolutely go nuts. And they were. I remember, I think it was Ingles hit 2 or 3 threes in a row, and like the roof was about to come off the building. But yeah, Bucks go from shooting 24% from three in the first game to shooting, I had it up here, 51% from three in the second game. And just everybody in this game was contributing. Connaughton was looking really good out there. I'm starting with our bench guys. Ingles, we were kind of talking about this a little bit off there. I just absolutely love the way the guy plays basketball. Like, I want to see like the smart play percentage stat on that guy, because he seems to do the right thing with the ball every time he has the ball, at least in my opinion. Like, when I'm watching, I'm like, if he gives it up, it's like an easy dunk. If he takes a three, he usually hits it. Like, I want to say, like, if you look at it like a Joe Ingles stat line from a game where he gets over 20 minutes, it's like 4 of 6 from three, 5 of 6 from three, like at the worst 3 of 6 from three with like 5 assists that are just easy buckets, not like a janky assist, if you want to call it that, like where a guy's hitting a tough shot, but like just a flush. Then on top of that, Lopez scores 25 points. Holiday scores 24 points. Everybody in this game that played over 20 minutes had over 13 points. So the lowest score of anybody with over 20 minutes was Bobby Portis with 13, which he looked like he spent all of his energy trying to get Milwaukee back in that game one. Granted, they had a couple days off, but yeah, it would be unfair to say like, oh, he scored 13 points in this game, but he crushed it in game one when he was trying to like
when everybody else was kind of
Yeah.
shit in the bed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, game two, like, to be fair, the Bucks gave the fans a really good reason to be like loud and like
Oh yeah.
putting it out there. Now, the NBA kind of shit the bed here. I don't understand how you don't have playoff games on TNT. Like, you don't have them all publicly aired somewhere. It makes no sense to me. So, and I shouldn't say that because it was on NBA TV, but it wasn't on TNT. It was not.
Okay, I don't know what. Like, I definitely got the game.
Yeah, so I think it, like, you could see it through like certain stuff, but like in Wisconsin, right? I could not get the game. I had to watch the Lakers game.
You had YouTube TV and you couldn't watch the game.
Lakers Memphis was on, and the Bucks game was not on.
I had both the games.
Yeah, you probably had the Miami net yeah, I don't know how you had both games. I was looking both like multiple times that night. Didn't
Now that you
no.
say it, I'm trying to think of like
And I
who
heard some
the
other people that
halftime
were bitching
crew and
about it.
stuff was.
Like there's some other people on Twitter bitching about it too. So
No, I had no issue getting the game because I was in here in this room and I had the Lakers Memphis game on, I want to say, and then I just flipped to the Bucks Heat game. I
maybe
was good
I'm
to
just
go.
incompetent and couldn't find it, but like for sure I was like pretty pissed at the NBA.
No, I think you are. I think I can show you after the game. Because I record the games too. Because now I'm curious because I want to see what I got to watch the game on in this one. But
Do you think like a
but
local Florida station was showing it? Like ABC or something?
now you got me confused because I remember thinking like it was a weird crew like at the halftime thing. But I want to say it was definitely like you said, not the TNT guys, and it wasn't like Jalen Rose and
Which would be the ESPN
Mike
guys.
Greenberg. Yeah. So maybe I was watching it on local, but
I
it's
know they
still
said it was on NBA TV or whatever, but
that's what I
like,
feel like I
I
got.
figure in Wisconsin I should get that game over the Lakers game. Like
But
as
like I said,
more
I got them both, so I don't know because I can't imagine whatever. It's not even that important. Um, we'll figure it out. We'll straighten it out right after the show. But that is egregious if you don't get that game. Uh,
I mean, it is what it is.
whatever.
But like, I tracked it on my phone just like I did at game one because I couldn't watch it because my in-laws were watching. Might not have been able to watch it anyway, right? If it was on YouTube, like my people all would have been watching it, right? My father-in-law and his two sons and three more people because that's their sport is basketball. So
Gotcha. Yeah. Or you just need to get your own YouTube TV shit.
too much money.
But yeah, just to sum that one up, absolute ass whooping from the Bucks. Took a 26-point lead into halftime and then extended it to a 33-point lead going into the fourth quarter. And just a game that was never in doubt. If you go on ESPN and you look at the little chart that shows like the scores, like there's a
Like
good
win probability or whatever.
yeah, and then there's just a good spread of like I was trying to pay attention when I was watching it back right before the show, like what's the closest they got, and it might have been the end of the game, like 16 points. So I don't think it ever got within 10 after the second quarter. And
Right.
what was it, 83 to minus 26 points off of that at halftime. So yeah, that's all I got. I feel pretty good about the Bucks. I don't know how I feel about Giannis's injury. I haven't really been plugged into any of the insiders stuff or anything like that. I haven't really looked into how serious it might be. I don't know if you've heard anything about it.
So they were like contemplating letting him play on Wednesday. And so I would imagine that by Saturday he'll be very close to playing and we'll see kind of where that falls, right? So that'll probably be a game time decision for him on Saturday.
Yeah, so my gauge of whether he was injured or not was what the spread was going to be. And I want to say when the spread first came out, it was -9. And I was like,
To the Bucks.
that's yeah, Bucks are -9. I was like, that's a Giannis spread. So I was like, if I'm a betting guy and someone asked me if Giannis is going to play in this game on Wednesday, I'm going to say yes, he's going to play if the Bucks are favored by 9. And then I think I was maybe talking to my dad and he asked me and I was like, yeah, they're favored by 9. But then I went back and double checked it and the spread dropped to -6.5. And I was like, okay, that's maybe telling me that Giannis isn't in this game. But that's just how my mind works
Yeah,
with.
and like I saw a stat, and it was like game one. If you lose game one and you're like the higher seed, like the average points you win by is like 16 or 18, something like that. Like the Bucks are like right there. I think it was 18 actually. But so and they're like 16-1, and the average margin of victory was 18 points or something like that. So
Yeah,
Vegas probably had to have that like probability like set in there as well.
gotcha. Yeah, I'm trying to Google if there's anything easy to figure out for game three, but it looks like I'm gonna actually have to search it. But I think you're right. Like it seemed like he was gonna play, like I thought he was gonna play initially. Um, Honestly, though, like what do you think? Like, would I guess if he's perfectly fine, but I think if he's anything less than 80%, I would just say let's see if we can win this without Giannis. And like if he's less than 80%, and I would say sit him for the next game for sure. If we fall behind in the series, then it's like, okay, now we're gonna bring out the big guns. But
Yeah,
I
so
would,
I would have concerns with if you're down 1-2 and you let him sit, right? One
yeah,
one, I think like if you go down 1-2, that's fine. Bring Giannis back, go on a little run, win the series, right? You got to figure it out. I would probably be willing to play without him if he still feels a little banged up. If he says he wants to play, I'd probably let him play because I do think that he like takes into account like the load management and what it's going to take to actually win a championship, right? I think that he has a pretty good understanding of that.
yeah. And it seems like the Bucks do a very good job of doing load management with Giannis, and then just all of their players in general, with like how deep this team is and like how they can use them. Whereas other superstars will like sit out for a whole game, but like where the Bucks, I mean, they're blessed to be able to do it because they're such a good team. Uh, are just whooping teams' ass in the third quarter and just get to sit guys for like if you look up Giannis's production and then points per or then minutes per game, like he's not up there in minutes per
No,
game.
no.
And granted, he was hurt a couple times this year, uh, but nothing like some of the other guys. I guess that would have been a good thing for me to have up that I don't have up. But yeah, he's definitely got a lot less minutes than guys that are putting up similar numbers than him. And it's kind of like, the Heisman quarterback that is on Alabama that's beating every team by 60 and sits every third quarter type deal, and still putting up those same numbers. But
Yeah,
yeah,
he's not putting up the same minutes as
for,
Embiid to get the same numbers, right?
yeah, he's doing it in less time. But but yeah, I think the question like I pose is kind of a double-edged sword now that I think about it a little bit. Because say if you do use Giannis and you just are like, okay, win the next 3 games, bam, 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 then you got time to rest after that. Opposed to if you do sit him, you end up losing one more, then having to bring him back. So
Yeah, but
whatever. I think your answer was good. Is like if he wants to play, let him play.
yeah, so like let him be the deciding factor, and I'm sure he probably pushes to play more times than he doesn't. I don't imagine he's that guy that's like, like I mean, so I don't want to pick on this guy, but he's pretty easily pick onable, right? I don't think he's Ben Simmons that like everything that goes wrong he sits out for.
Yeah.
Like every little tweak. I don't think that's what Giannis is, and I think that especially in the playoffs, he's not that. But if he would say, "Man, like back's a little tight today. Let's just see how it goes," I'd probably say, "Let's sit you and see how the game goes without you, and then if we need to go hard for the next 3, then we'll do that."
I like that. Yeah. Let's roll roll with that. But yeah, I think you're more than safe to say that Giannis is going to be the guy that's chomping at the bit to be like, no, I'm going to play. Like that's just a fact. That's who he is. That's who we
Feels that way, right?
always seen him be. I don't even think we could say it feels that way. It is that way. Like that's as far as I would go with it. Like when has Giannis ever gave you proof like where he's done like, oh no, I'm gonna take it
Well,
easy today,
I mean, to be fair, he does take his like load management days or whatever, which I think I've heard a lot of people like complain and be like, Jordan played 82 games. Like, you should be playing 82 games or whatever. But I don't think that that's accurate, right? So I don't think it's the same thing. Um, I think we understand way more about physical health and what like working super, super hard 4 days out of the week can do to you. And that there's times, especially in a 6-8 month period, that you need to take breaks. And so, like, I don't fault him for taking that break, but I know that he does choose that, right? And the team probably talks him into choosing that because he's going to get another 3 years out of his career because he does that.
yeah, sports science has came a super long ways, but I definitely think okay, so it is speculation on my part. So I can't say it is 100% of fact. Is if you ask Giannis, like, they're gonna sit him at like opportune times at away games, like
Right.
where if you're like, they always bring up the young fan that came to see you, he's not gonna disappoint that kid, type
And
deal
like,
mentality.
I would argue that the Bucks should just be more transparent about when Giannis won't play.
Yeah,
I know that
but
that's not advantageous to them for like selling tickets, but like it should be home. You don't play at home games, and like they should just be more clear. Like this is what we're doing. I know
I
that's not the way
wonder
it'll ever be, but
how much in advance that that that's going to be a load management game, because who knows, like you're like, okay, well, in 6 games, we're going to let Giannis sit one out. And then you lose 5 in a row and you're like, well, fuck that. Like that
yeah,
plan's out the window. Like
right. And so like my parents bought tickets for me for a Bucks game when I was, I don't know, maybe like a sophomore, and they bought them for Christmas, right? Well, they traded my favorite player between Christmas and the time of the game was, right? The game was in March or something like that. And they traded my favorite player away. Not that I hated seeing Gary Payton on the court, but like it wasn't Ray Allen. I can tell you that. And I wanted to see Ray Allen, Big Dog, and Sam Cassell play together.
yeah. Well, that's too fucking bad, Mike.
I know. So like, they disappointed me back then with the fucking trade deadline.
All right, let's roll. Bark about the Bucks for us here.
All right. So the Brewers took the series in San Diego, three games to one. Then they go in and they sweep the Mariners. They have an off day today, which is Thursday. They'll be back in Milwaukee on Friday. They'll be facing off against the Red Sox. Freddie Peralta is going to get that start. And then they placed Garrett Mitchell on the injured list with a shoulder injury. I didn't see like a timetable on anything on that, but he's going to be out. Didn't see who they brought up either, but
yeah, I was curious about that. He's on the 10-day injured list, so I don't know. I feel like they've
what's the
been
short
playing
one?
with.
5?
Yeah, I think 10 is about as short as it goes.
And it used to be 15 then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It used to be a 15-day DL, then like maybe a 30-day DL and a 60-day DL.
Okay.
That changed. I do see, I'm looking at the injury report right now. Tyrone Taylor is also on that. I mean, we haven't seen him yet this season. But it says Taylor elbow is on track. Rehab assignment AAA Nashville on Tuesday. And then Mitchell will undergo an MRI on his left shoulder Thursday, so today. And then it looks like, I don't know, because I think this is from the 40-man roster, or actually, no, I think it's from the MLB roster, but it says Sal Frelick is day to day. So I assume maybe that's who they brought up. And I know that's our guy that we're looking at, or I'm definitely looking at to be the next superstar on the Bucks or on the Brewers. That's my shot I'm calling. I don't know if that's like too bold or
Who's the
anything.
number one prospect in the Brewers thing? I've seen a bunch of shit on Twitter about him.
It's not Sal Frolic.
It could be. I'm not positive about that though. Doesn't sound familiar, but
Yeah, but he's been crushing it for a while. I want to say he even had like a pretty damn solid spring training. I actually reached out to him to come on the show. He never said anything back, but
yeah,
I was able to send him a message at least though. So
yeah. So that's always a interesting one to me is when you can.
yeah, so yeah, he didn't reach back out to me. I still we'll get him on the show one day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Mitchell's going to be out for a while.
Right. And so I really don't have too much else on the Brewers. They've been put in close games. They're squeaking them out. They're figuring out how to win the games late. So one of the games against the Mariners went into extra innings. One game, they give up a run late. They're up 3 runs. They give up a run late, and they figure out a way to finish the Mariners off. Right. So you're winning the games that you're supposed to win, or in close games, you're winning those games. And that's going to be a big difference in a playoff team versus a team that misses the playoffs for the Brewers.
Yeah, they're doing it. They're doing it completely right. So they're winning games. They're winning close games. They're winning games by a lot. And then every loss that they have, they get their ass whooped. So it's like, you know how when you like think about like, oh, I wish we would have just saved some of these runs for like another day. My dumb brain says that. So their first loss.
Oh yeah, mine too.
They lose 4-0 to the Cubs. Their second loss, 3-0 to the Cardinals, 7-3 to the Diamondbacks, 10-3 to the Padres, and those are all their losses. So all their losses are by 3 or more runs, and like 2 of them is like when they didn't score any runs. So they're just saving them for better days.
Yeah, and so just playing good baseball and setting things up right. So like you can go into like the later parts of the season and just kind of just be playing ball when it comes into the dog days of summer. You can just be splitting series and getting things done. But winning early, I think, is going to be helpful in the long term.
We definitely need to get into fantasy baseball because I feel like both of us, when we definitely were locked more into baseball and like paying attention to like batting averages and in stats and stuff, it's just changed so much. Like we did this last year and we're like, the Brewers are hitting like 222 as a team and they have a winning record. Like, and like back when we were kids, like if the team wasn't hitting 260 and you didn't have 2 guys on the team hitting over, yeah, like you're in rough shape. But I'm gonna do a quick rundown of the numbers just because I like to do that. Highlight the big bopper on the team. So Rowdy Tellez has hit 5 home runs to this point in the season, has 14 RBIs. Brian Anderson, our new dog, he's leading the team with 15 RBIs. And then for batting average of, we'll say people who have played, let's go over 10 games. Contreras is leading the team with a 302 average. And yeah, I mean, William Contreras is hitting 302 or no, Owen Miller is hitting 292. So, yeah, we don't have our two guys over 300. Carantini's hitting over, he's hitting 350, but he's only played 6 games with 20 at bat.
Yeah, which is pretty light.
Yeah,
Brewers are playing
still-
good baseball. I mean, a guy like moving on to a guy that like is doing better than he was previously. We're gonna go into driving fast and turn left. We're gonna hang it up on the Brewers. They're playing good ball. They're gonna go into Miller Park or American Family, beat the Red Sox, and now Martin Truex Jr. finished third this weekend. Didn't lead for any laps. Accumulated a fair amount of points somehow. I don't know if like he's like, I don't know how he does that. I think he accumulated like 59 points, something like that.
I think that's
I don't
just going to be
understand the points.
our ongoing thing that we say about on this show is like, hey, we're going to bring someone on to explain to us like the NASCAR scoring system, and we're just never
Someday. Someday. And then Kyle Larson got the win this weekend. So it was at Martinsville, so you'd think Martin Truex Jr. would win, but he didn't. So he got there.
And I think this upcoming weekend's Talladega, so I think it's a big race. MTJ's saving it for the big one in Alabama. So
and there is one like racetrack where like he's projected to win. I remember us going over that last year. Like he just races really well. Might be like Charlotte or something like that, though. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Did you say where he's sitting in the Cup race?
No, I didn't. I didn't check that. All I know is where he finishes every week, pretty much.
So I think he jumped from 13th to 10th. He's definitely in 10th right now. And he just needs to catch those checkers, and then we'll be good to go. We doing hot in the streets?
I don't know if you're going to get into the other ones we got going. But yeah, I do want to get into a few hot in the streets. Do you have ideas for Mike for mayor, or just the ones we've had in the past?
Let's do
for Mayor Mike.
I know you're doing hot in the streets on the fly. I didn't even think of that, but let's do hot in the streets first. So Draymond Green gets kicked out of the game and then puts on a show and then gets suspended. Was it just one game that he got suspended?
I believe so, yeah.
And did you see the whole thing go down?
Nope. So I just saw that like what Sabonis grabs his leg. Sabonis's kid.
What's that?
It's the old Sabonis's kid, right? Grabs his leg, grabs his foot. He gets his foot loose and then he stomps on his chest or something like that. That's what I saw. I didn't see anything after that.
Yeah, it was pretty weak. Like I'm sure if anybody listens to sports stuff, it's been covered. To me, almost getting kicked out of the game, sure, maybe that part's warranted. The suspension wasn't. The stomp, in my opinion, wasn't even too much of a stomp. It was like he put his foot on his chest and then he kind of did like a jump thing, like where he could have done way worse. Like it was almost like it was to make sure he didn't like completely step on him. But then Sabonis reacts like he got shot by
he's a basketball player. That's what happens. It's like hitting a soccer player. They just go around and they flop around for 25 minutes, right? I don't think the suspension comes because he stomped on him. I think more than likely the suspension comes because he's like kind of a piece of shit about stuff like this all the time, right?
Yeah,
he's kind of like Grayson Allen. They're kind of the same type of player. They just do shitty things kind of often.
Yeah, and I think that is it. I think even if you looked up like why he got suspended, like there's something in there that it's like it's because it's him.
Yeah.
Type deal. And like this isn't an isolated incident. by any means. And
Right.
then he goes on to just fire up the crowd in Sacramento, which has been just freaking nuts. Like, if you're paying attention to Sacramento, that city is jacked up to be back in the basketball conversation, which is cool to see. Like, I'm definitely cheering for them uh to come out of the West, and not for like any advantageous reason playing the Bucks, but I did enjoy their team. I can't remember. It was when we talked about the Bucks playing them in the season, and then they had like just guys with like cool nicknames and stuff like that.
Oh
And
yeah, you mentioned them that like they
it was
call them certain things. I can't remember
White Thunders or something like that.
White
But
Thunder. Well, I mean, so like they used to have white chocolate with Jason Williams.
yeah, I think that's I'm mixing it up. Uh, but yeah, that was a hot in the street. But yeah, if it's not Draymond Green, I don't think the suspension's happening.
And
Uh,
we touched on Giannis hurting his back, but John Morant like busted up his hand a little bit. Doesn't look like there's any like X-rays were negative, but he didn't play in the last game against or they're playing the Lakers, right? Grizzlies
yeah,
versus Lakers.
yeah. I guess we could do just an NBA playoff update, um,
And then
where
I do have
everybody
like a Max Scherzer got suspended from a game because he's using sticky stuff again of
that a
some
boy.
sort.
That's like right up your alley. I feel like you're proud of that. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying in Mike's book.
I think that in for like baseball, like that's really the attitude though. I think you should juice them up and give them the sticky stuff and just see what happens.
Yeah,
I guess
I
I guess maybe like you should have to choose if you're a pitcher, if you're on the juice or you get the sticky stuff.
yeah, one or the other.
Yeah,
You
you
you can
can't have
have.
both.
I like that. But yeah, so we'll run through hot in the street real quick here. Just so we know the Bucks are 1-1. Celtics are up 2-0 on the Hawks. Sixers are up 3-0 on the Nets. Uh, Cavs and Knicks are tied 1-1. And then moving over to the West, the Nuggets are up 2-0 on the Timberwolves. Like Mike was saying, John Morant went down, but the Grizzlies tied that series back up 1-1. Do you know if that was without Ja or was that the game Ja went down?
They won the game 2 without him.
Okay. But so Ja went down in game 1.
Yep. It was
Okay.
it was actually on a similar play, like both like a slide under charge call.
Yeah. And then my other hot in the street that I was gonna throw in with that game is Dylan Brooks calling LeBron James old and saying that he's not going to respect him until LeBron James puts up 40 on him. And I think that's sweet. Like, I love that just the blatant disrespect for a legend like LeBron, because it's nothing but good for the game. It's I don't get where like an old guy would be like, um, like get off my lawn type shit with that. Because if LeBron James wants to shut him up, which he's perfectly capable of doing,
Only
he'll,
maybe. So like Brooks, I'm imagining is a really good defender.
yeah. But
I
LeBron
would
James,
assume.
man, is LeBron James. I mean, he's not.
No, yeah, he's the dude. Like I understand that, but like I have to imagine Brooks is actually like very, very good defensively. He's like when Richard Sherman talks shit or Darrell Revis was talking shit. Um, just guys would come in and they want to do something to him and they just can't. I have to imagine that's what Dylan Brooks is because like he is going to he's said this shit all year long. He's been this like abrasive character all year long. You would expect somebody to put like just want to put 45 on his head like every night they come in, and they just don't. And there's probably a reason that they don't.
Yeah, but I mean, just the shit talking on top though is like, now if the Lakers win though, I
Oh, yeah.
think that's, even if LeBron James doesn't put 45 points on him, and we were talking earlier, did we do it all off air when we were talking about LeBron James just being one of, we were comparing Joe Ingles to LeBron James.
Yeah.
That's
So that
how big
LeBron
a-
James and Joe Ingles have the same like mental attitude towards the game. They're both super intelligent inside the game of basketball, right?
Yeah.
That Joe Ingles makes all these great plays, right? And he scores 15 points a game. Well, LeBron makes all these great and smart, like intelligent basketball plays, but he scores 35 or 40 points a game when he's really rolling, right? His athletic ability is super high, and his basketball intelligence is super high, right? Joe
Yeah.
Ingles' athletic ability is probably like for NBA players, like he's obviously more athletic than I am. I'm not like, but like it's probably like mid to low level, and LeBron's is super high. So that's the difference in a guy like LeBron and the rest of the league is his basketball intelligence is super high, and he's super athletic.
Yeah, he at one point in time he was the smartest basketball player on the floor and the most athletic basketball player on the floor at the same time. But
And that was
only
probably
on,
within the last 4 years.
yeah, and only on banging on the drum you're gonna get a comparison to Joe Ingles to LeBron James. But but no, I just think, could the Lakers scheme something up where LeBron James just goes off, and maybe it's not going to be specifically on Dillon Brooks, but I just think LeBron's too smart a guy to be like, I'm going to waste my time and energy trying to respond to that. I'm going to beat you in the series is going to be more of his mindset. And then we'll see how much shit you're talking after that. But I loved it. I
So I
liked the
think Dillon Brooks, I
disrespect.
think like what he is, he will talk shit in a loss, right? I think that's who he is. Right?
Yeah,
Is
and
that
I
he's the
mean,
guy who wants to get in your head. He's Draymond Green. He's the same type of dude.
yeah, and
Might
I
not
think
be as like chippy about it. I don't know. I haven't seen that side of Brooks. Maybe he is, right? He could be the same guy. But like he's the guy who's like psychologically messing with you. Like he wants LeBron James to push too hard because he knows that LeBron James is a better player as a team player. And if you push too hard individually, that's going to cause the Lakers to lose.
And I mean, if you look back, like historically in great NBA teams, probably I won't say every NBA team to win a championship, but like probably, I think it would be safe to say at least 95% all have a guy like that. I feel like when the Bucks won the championship, PJ Tucker was kind of our dude to do that. Draymond Green, obviously, with the Warriors. And then you go back to the Bulls, which is pretty obvious. It was Dennis Rodman. You go back to like the
first
Pistons.
three isn't as obvious, right?
Say that again.
The first three Bulls championships isn't as obvious who that guy is.
Yeah, but I'm sure
there's a guy I'm sure there's a guy on that team that like, and it could be like even Jordan, right? That like is just the guy that nobody wants to fucking deal with, right? And he's just the best player on the team as well.
It's like Horace Grant. Actually, I feel like he was nice, but
maybe I don't like. I couldn't tell you like the ins and outs of that team.
Rasheed Wallace with the Pistons, like if you look back to great teams, you kind of need it. And like the great ones that have won more than one tend to have a guy that you can point the finger at and be like, well, that was the guy that,
was just a problem.
Mental warfare, usually a good rebounder, a good defender. Like, and I think that just goes into being a good defender is being able to not give a fuck who you're talking shit to at any given time, whether you're down, you're up. Like I'm a pussy. Like I will not talk shit in a game
Right.
until after I know I have it won. And I don't
And
even really think that's like talking shit. That's just like,
telling you the truth.
yeah, I guess. I like that though. Like if you can say that about something. So I was playing one-on-one with a younger guy in my unit, and he's a cool dude. Like he was putting it to me in a one-on-one basketball game, and then I ended up beating him, and I didn't talk a lick of shit until the game was over. But I wish I would have had that. And I was like, I don't talk shit. I just tell you the truth, or something like that.
Yeah, like I think that mental warfare definitely plays a big deal in like sports, and that is completely overlooked. I shouldn't say
Who
completely overlooked, but like to a large extent, like people are like, it's the athletes that make the difference. It's not. I think it's your like mental attitude, because athletes are in like, I mean, you grew up with athletes. I grew up with athletes that just like they should be good at things, and they just aren't because something got in their head, and then they like can't focus on something, and then they shit the bed.
I don't talk shit. I just speak the truth. I think that's it. Is
That's it. That's the new one from like every time you fuck, I'm not talking shit to you. I'm just telling you you're fucking trash because that's the truth.
yep, I speak the truth. But I was too busy trying to round out that one. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like how you're gonna like mentally like go with this when you're playing basketball next time.
yep,
It's a
yep.
good move. Um, yeah, I don't know if I have much more for hot in the streets. Um, do you have
Sure.
anything for like baseball or anything that's going on that you're aware of?
No, you pumped it. Scherzer suspended 10 games. Harden tossed. Embiid gets flagrant. And
Yeah.
Sixers win tonight. You had a little bit more detail on that.
Well, so
Um,
like Embiid kicked a dude in the nuts and didn't get ejected from the game. Like, and he's been mildly dirty in the past, right? So he gives like LeBron like a pretty stiff elbow, or not LeBron, Giannis a pretty stiff elbow, like coming into the lane, like at least once
yeah.
this year. Like he's just had a few chippy things, right? He could have been in the same boat as Draymond. Like we've seen him act like this in the past. Um, and he kicked a dude in the nuts, doesn't get kicked out, and then like Harden's like trying to get past a dude and ends up hitting him in the nuts like with his hand, like moving past him, right? Trying to like dribble past him. Hits him in the nuts. He gets kicked out of the game for it. And I just saw it on Twitter, so like it could be not necessarily like 100% true representation of what happened, but I would imagine that you should have kicked Embiid out and not Harden. But the NBA doesn't want that crap either.
Yeah. Yeah. Embiid's a hard guy to sit down where Harden used to be, I
Yeah, he
think
used to be that guy
would
for
get
sure.
that treatment. But yeah, then Tatis is finally back for the Padres. Gonna be playing his first game since 2021. Uh, Article I just pulled up said he's confident he won't miss a beat. But if he doesn't miss a beat, the Padres are a fucking wagon when they get that guy back.
Yeah, but I mean, so the Padres built their team around like legit young superstars, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
they're
so
gonna be good.
I have no doubt they're going to be good. All right, so like really, that's all I got. Like, do you want to dig into Mayor Mike?
Mayor Mike. So I'm just gonna come up with questions for Mike off the top of my head here. So how are we solving the issue of world hunger?
So
Um, Starting in Wilton.
so you start in Wilton. Like, honestly, I think it just has to be like you have to have community meals, right? So like Wilton's a very small town, right? but you need to supply community meals somehow. Where you start with that is in the education system. So kids shouldn't have to, and like this was something that like kind of blew my mind when I heard it, and it was just recently. Um, if you're forcing a kid by law to be at school, they should not have to pay for food. So I mean, so like this is going to sound like pretty goofy, but they're basically prisoners to the school system. They have to be there from whatever 8 o'clock in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever it is. Like, or they get a truancy letter, right? Like that's possible. Like you can get in trouble either as a parent or as the kid because your
I
kid
got
isn't in school.
I got one or two of those in high school.
Yeah, you have to feed those kids. No kid should pay for any meal inside of that building. If you're forcing them to be there, they don't have to pay for meals. If inmates don't have to pay for meals, neither should fucking kids.
And that's like a mayor's right to go into the school and say that.
No, but that's how we're solving world hunger.
Okay.
In like what we can just call that like in the greater Brookwood area, right? No, so like if we have a philanthropist that's out there that like wants to do the right thing, you pay for every kid's meal in the school. Now, the state should be doing that to begin with. They're not going to though, because the state's shitty and they can't fucking do anything unless they run it all the way up to the fucking governor before they make a decision. Nobody in the world that runs in state or federal government or local government can make a decision without running it all the way up the fucking chain. Sorry, that's a little need to get that off my chest. It's been bothering me at work. So
yeah, you're gonna be the mayor one day. So I hit you with a heavy hitter right off the bat. So I'm gonna hit the brakes a little bit and let you talk about yourself. So how would you describe your management style?
Probably laissez-faire. I expect people to do the right thing because I think that I generally, without guidance, will do the right thing.
Dang.
And so, like, that's probably not good. I might have to adjust that in my future mayoral bids.
What are the most pressing issues in the office you are seeking?
So obviously it's the pool, like the employee management and how they spend funds in old Wilton, and who knows how that actually is, right? So I think we actually do a pretty nice job. We spend funds on like we're putting in a new softball field in town. I think that's good, right? But then we also leave the lights on all year. There's always lights that like Christmas lights. They put out Christmas lights. There's lights on in the building all the time. I don't ever understand this. Like, shut the fucking lights off. That costs us money to run the fucking lights. I don't understand why we leave the lights on. Like it seems like an obvious solution. Shut the goddamn lights off, right? But who am I to say shut the lights off, right? There's probably like a security thing, but there's a street light in the fucking park. Why can't it be like motion sensor?
I love it. I love it. So you're gonna fix the pool. There's gonna be no more bickering between teenagers at the pool.
Oh, of course there will be, but like if you allow the bickering be between teenagers and not teenagers and adults, right? Like so, as the adult, you should say, "All right, I'm going to listen to you, and these are the reasons I'm not going to do what you're telling me to do." They can just do that. Like an adult should be able to like fully function their thoughts and tell them, actually, like that's not the appropriate way to respond to this.
This might actually be a reoccurring segment. I like this.
I might not have many more good ideas.
No, you've been like ripping them. Like we're going off the top of the head, and you're responding right away.
Yeah, are they good responses though? They seem shitty in my brain. Like once I'm done, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't say that shit.
No, fix the pool and turn the lights off in the buildings of Wilton.
Like I think that's like a real thing. Like you should turn the fucking lights off. Like you shouldn't have Christmas lights running all year fucking around.
No, yeah.
They don't have them all year. It's just during Christmas. But like, what the fuck's the point of the town having Christmas lights up?
Do they leave them on during the day?
No, but like it's all night. Why do we have them?
Yeah, I think that's just like standard. So you're saying
Yeah, you shouldn't.
you're going to be
No
the
government should
Grinch.
fucking put that shit on. No shit. No government should put that shit up. Like it's a waste of money. So like, and then there's one like by the basketball court that's going to be on at 2 o'clock in the morning. So the basketball court in the city of Wilton, in the village of Wilton, is lit up all night long from what now 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock tomorrow, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's going to be lit up. No kids are playing there. Doesn't light up enough so that you can actually play basketball. Just lights it up enough so that we're wasting fucking money all night.
What
Shut
if
that fucking thing off.
someone's waking up and they got a basketball Jones, man? Got
Why
a
can't you just
basketball
be motion
Jones.
censored? Motion censored. So that you walk in
Oh,
there, they turn fucking on, and then they turn off 15 minutes after no motion.
I like that too, because then people in towns like that we came from, they very much like to point out when there's like an animal around. And that would help too. Like if the light goes out, they'd be like, there's a rabbit, like there's a turkey. Was it
Yeah.
strutting?
Yeah, so like you could end up having animals charging us money too. But like there's no reason for that, right? Like just shut the fucking shit off.
All right, let's summarize this. So Mike is going to end hunger through education. And when you send a kid to school, they shouldn't have to pay for it. I like that. He's going to fix the pool. It's going to be open all summer long
Yes,
from
that's the big one.
Memorial Day
Labor Day to
till
Memorial
Labor
Day.
Day. Labor
Yeah,
Day to
or other
Memorial.
way.
I get them mixed up.
It's Memorial to Labor, I think. M to L.
You're probably right. I am.
It is.
Those are the ones I don't get. And then you're gonna shut the lights off in the government buildings and shit, man, you're gonna be pocketing, a couple.
$8 a month, man.
There we go. I love it. All right. That will wrap it up for Mike for mayor. I got one dumb idea
Oh, good.
that
I
I
love
get
the
to.
don't. I love them.
Okay, so I was sitting in my car today, and like I said, this is a reoccurring theme. My phone sucks, so it like cuts in and out between the radio and what I'm trying to play on my phone.
Did you clean it out?
I tried. I didn't give it a good try though. So
Toothpick.
I'm gonna try a little bit harder. I tried with a Q-tip, I think.
No, not a fucking Q-tip. A toothpick.
And a knife. I used my
No metal.
utility. Okay. So
All right. Do you have
I was
like a Swiss Army knife that's got the little plastic toothpick in there?
I don't. I have a multi-tool that I've probably never used for a good reason. In my car that was issued to me from the military, which is super nice, but yeah, I don't use it enough, but I do have it but anyways, the Footloose song came on the radio right when I was getting out of my car to go to class. And I love pranks on people. And I just thought that this would be like an all-time good prank, is especially if it was like a first day of school type deal, is you got a kid that signed up for a class, but then this is going to be a hidden, it might have actually already been done, but it's going to be a hidden camera show. And the class is just going to break out into a musical, and there's only going to be one person in the class that doesn't know that this is a musical. But I just think that that would be a great prank, and I love it.
You have the opportunity to do this. You understand that, right? Like
How?
you are in the military. Like this is a perfect sell. You just have to get guys on board, right? Like so
Oh,
you're gonna have a new guys coming into your unit at some point, right? It doesn't
yeah,
have to be a musical, but you guys can all do something fucking crazy to that new recruit that like it doesn't harm them really at all, right? But like is like out there,
yeah. I feel like that's
right? You
tough to
have
come
the
back from.
opportunity, like you have like a new. It's not a new school setting, but it's a new like job setting, and you could just fuck with this dude right off the jump.
Oh yeah, we could do some pretty egregious stuff, but
And it doesn't have to be egregious. It doesn't have to be something that is like actually physically harmful or mentally harmful to this person, but just kind of gets them going. Like just puts them into like a like
yeah,
in a mood that's like, this is, I can't deal with this shit. And then like by the end of the day, it's over and you're done.
I kind of like that. But we are kind of aware, like when you're going into a new setting like that, that it's like very uncomfortable. Like so when you're just pouring fuel on the uncomfortability
But
fire,
wouldn't
that
that break the ice way quicker?
it could. It
It
might actually
could,
be a
right? Yeah,
good
that's a good answer. It
yeah.
could.
But so I did have this somewhat happen to me one time where this triggered whatever. This has probably helped trigger the idea. So I was working in the military, like you said. I was working at we call it QC control point, whatever. I was like the door guard for the day. Like I'd gotten in trouble for some stupid shit, and then every weekend they would put me on this
Yep.
duty, like where I don't like watch the door with a couple other people,
It's
and
not fire guard.
that's I think that's the Navy term, Navy and
Okay.
Marine term for it, but we called it, I want to say we called it QC, but I can't remember what that stands for. Um,
Quality control. Make
yeah,
sure
yeah,
nobody does any stupid shit.
yeah, we'll say it's quality control. But then the girl that was like sitting next to me in this desk, so we have the main person that was me because I'd been doing it too much, and then we had like a backup main person. Then we had a person who actually like checked IDs at the door, and the girl started singing the "Shut Up and Dance" song, like and just shut up and dance with me. And then the guy, I could kind of tell like that was kind of his jam. Like he was just giving me the vibes that like he'd be like, okay, I know that song. But she started singing and he started singing, and they kind of did a performance right there. And I was getting so fucking embarrassed for them. And then I also realized like I think there's something that embarrassment has to go somewhere. And I was the only one catching the embarrassment there. And they were just singing this song like in a duet, and they didn't even have it planned. And to be quite honest, like they were both like fairly good singers, and I don't know, maybe they fell in love after that. I
You should reach
didn't
out,
know either
see
of
what
them
they're
too
up
much.
to.
Yeah, no, but it felt like I was in an episode of High School Musical or Glee or whatever the show. I guess I know Glee's the show, High School Musical, the movie. But yeah, I felt like I was
What
an episode of
is
that.
that a
And
show
if
too?
there was like a camera on me, it would have probably been good because I was kind of like, I
Yeah.
looked
What
like I
the
just
fuck is
wanted to
going on?
like run, like away from that situation.
So this leads me into a show that my wife and I started watching. Have you watched Jury Duty?
No.
So like if it, I equate it to The Office. My wife thinks it's more like reality TV, but I think it's The Office, right? So I think that it's just like a show, just like The Office, but
Is
my
it
wife thinks
reality? What's it sold as? Because The
reality TV.
Office, okay,
Early on, The Office is sold as reality TV,
yeah. And
right? So it's not
they come back
explicitly,
to it in the end. Like it does wrap up like with this has been a show the whole time. Like,
yeah, like a reality TV show, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and so that's the way they start The Office is like that. It's kind of like that, even though you kind of know it isn't. Jury Duty, um, very amusing. I enjoyed it quite a bit,
I'll check it out. I'll check it out just for
and I
you.
think it's like on like a freebie TV or something. I don't.
Yeah,
You'd have
like
to look it up.
Pluto or whatever we
Yeah.
were watching Walker Texas Ranger on.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that will do it for the show. And as always, like, subscribe. Mike's been doing some good things with our Twitter. We're getting out there. He edited the video pretty good. Our YouTube channel's getting better. So subscribe to that. Like our episodes. Subscribe to the podcast. Just do it all. Share it if you would. We appreciate it. And I'll just, as always, we love you guys. We appreciate the support. Mike, what do you got for them?
All you suckers that are doubting the Packers, the Batters, the Brewers, or the Bucks, you can eat our shorts. Roll it.